It's.
I sure the light didn't come out.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the first orchestra concert we've had in a very long time. And it seems like we've forgotten how this works. It's kind of because we've forgotten how this works. So bear with us as we try to get all of our logistics in order. We're very excited to see you here tonight. I wanted to remind you of a few expectations. Please make sure that you're keeping at least 1 seat distance between you and the family next to you. That'll help us keep our social distancing, help keep everybody safe, help keep families safe. The next thing, please make sure that you keep your mask on at all times indoors. I know there will be cupcakes after the concert, and so obviously you have to take your mask off to eat a cupcake, but try to make sure that you're keeping it as close to your face as you can, and then as soon as we're done eating the cupcake, go ahead and put those back on as we're mingling outside. After the concert, because the weather is finally nice after not being nice, we are going to have serenading strings playing music out back on the porch behind the school. And Mr. Graham, our 6th grade science teacher, will be showing some of the virtual kids how to launch their rockets. And so you guys are welcome to watch that while you are waiting for your cupcakes at the cupcake truck. Some reminders, since we're indoors, at the end of each concert, please make sure, at the end of each piece, please make sure that you wait until the conductor turns around. That's the sign that the piece is actually over. There are some false endings where you'll think, oh, they're done, but we're not actually done yet. So make sure you wait until I put my arms down and I turn around to face you guys, and then you can clap for these wonderful students and their beautiful music. If you have a child that is a little bit loud, feel free to take them out into the commons area, let them run around for a couple of minutes, burn off their energy, and come back in once they're a little bit calmer. That'll help everybody enjoy the musical experience. And there are restrooms, which are right out that door. If you happen to need them, feel free to duck out when you need, and then wait until the next song before you come back in. If you can do all of your entering the auditorium during the interlude between pieces, that would be best. All right, we have a lot of exciting stuff to tell you about. This is our virtual in-person 6th grade orchestra. Would you wave if you are an in-person student? Would you wave if you are a virtual student? This is their first time playing together, so it'll be a lot of fun for them to experience playing in a full orchestra, and it's a good taste of what is coming next year when we get back to more of our traditional orchestra concerts and experiences. We call this an informant because the students are going to inform you while we're playing about what they've been learning in class. We've been doing a lot of work on arco, which is using their bow. We've also been doing a lot of work pizzicato, which is when they use their finger to make a sound. Our first student is going to come up and talk a little bit about our first piece.
We started by learning the elements of good posture that help us produce good tone. Here are the steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. While we were learning about the fundamentals of posture, we also learned a lot about steady beat and rhythms, how to read rhythms and note names, and how to create beautiful sound on our instruments. Shortly after, we learned how to pizzicato, or pluck with our fingers, on our open strings in this daily warm-up. It sounds like this. We later learned how to play arco, like this. The first official song we learned was a bass line for the song Hot Cross Buns. It used the two primary open strings, G and A, to cause a strong certain beat. fingers on the strings to make different sounds, we discovered how to play the melody. Of course, it sounds best when we play the musical voices as a duet, rather than in unison, so that it sounds like this. The next song we play will be Boil Them Cabbage Down. This song traditionally features the banjo and fiddle. However, our arrangement features a melody, harmony, as well as bass players.
The next piece that we will play features a guest narrator, Mr. Stafford. He will tell a story while we play the theme variations of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Each variation uses a different bow technique or finger pattern. Hopefully you'll even hear some dynamic changes as we get softer near the end.
Once upon a time, there was a little violinist. She practiced every evening after dinner, and finally, as the stars appeared in the dark sky, she would lay down her instrument, crawl into bed, and look out into the deep night beyond her window. Now, one night, she had just finished her evening ritual and was dozing off when she realized there were no twinkling little stars. Something was horribly wrong. She peered into the night sky and watched horrified as a little star. No, a little asteroid hurtled towards her home. She grabbed her violin, grabbed a few slices of leftover pepperoni pizza from dinner, and rushed to a nearby observatory to warn them of the impending disaster. She showed the astrophysicist what she had observed, and they immediately set to work hatching a plan to save the planet. They quickly scattered banana peels across the meadow of impact and braced themselves for disaster. As the asteroid hurtled through the atmosphere, she pulled out her violin to play one last glorious song. As she played her melody, the whole town watched in amazement as the asteroid blasted towards the ground and upon impact, slid across the banana peels. The whole town rejoiced. As the asteroid trajectory slowed, and they joined the little violinist as she celebrated the return of her twinkling little stars.
perform will be Can Can. This song originates from the high-energy French dance characterized by very high kicks. This theme from Offenbach, Orpheus in the Underworld, is one of the most recognized tunes associated with the dance. We will perform this using three tempos: Andante, Moderato, and Allegro.
Our last sixth grade piece will be Little Liza Jane. Little Liza Jane is a traditional American folk song that has been incorporated into jazz, bluegrass, and even rock and roll styles. We also learned about first and second endings in musical notation while learning this song.
All right, now that you've gotten to hear our 6th grade only, our 7th and 8th grade violins are standing up and getting ready to come on stage. Our 7th and 8th grade cellos and basses are joining behind. And this next one is really, truly the greatest experiment of them all. And I know that you guys are used to me saying that every year in December. For those of you who remember our musical, We Wish You a Merry Christmas canon around the auditorium, this might be more adventurous because we have virtual 6th, virtual 7th, virtual 8th, and in-person 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students who all played this for the first time about 35 minutes ago. So we hope you will enjoy these 2 pieces, and as soon as we get a chance to tune, we'll start with Open String Samba. And now's another good moment for the reminder, we have programs this evening because of the risk of paper being passed around. If you would like to see our program, there are some QR codes that are stationed around the room in the aisles. Those QR codes will take you to a virtual bulletin. You are welcome to print those off if you want to, or share them on social media or whatever you want to do. There is a strong chance that there is a name misspelled because of all of our rosters involved this year with virtual and in person. So if you catch a mistake, email me and I will send you a personalized flyer that is completely about your student. It'll be very exciting. All right, we're going to keep getting our 7th graders on stage. Check out the QR code for the virtual program. is Open String Samba. Just some fun facts about that piece. That does not actually have a written out orchestra part. It is from Latin America. It was composed as part of a program called El Sistema, which is a really neat music program that is based on young children learning to play music like when they're 2 and 3 and playing along with professionals who are like in orchestra caliber teaching in universities. And so they write that song out as a melody line and a bass line. And then it's up to you to kind of find parts that work for your orchestra. So these guys did a really nice job on that, considering there's a lot of trying to feel the groove that's different than what we normally play, and some cool elements. Fun fact, for those of you who remember the Super Bowl show where Coldplay had the string orchestra, they were an El Sistema orchestra that was playing in the Super Bowl show. So there you go. Fun knowledge. All right, our next piece is Cripple Creek. All right, I'm about to mention them by name, but we had to alter our logistic at the last minute now that we're in the auditorium. 6th graders, if you played a solo, would you wave really quick? Just remember these guys because they're not going to be on stage when I recognize them, but those kids who are waving, we'll talk more about them later. Just quickly note who they are. And 6th grade, go off to our corner. Bass players and cello players, make sure we're going backstage. 7th and 8th graders, stay in your seat until you see that the chair you're moving to has been sanitized. Serenading strings, go ahead and come up to the front of the stage. We've got a lot of moving pieces in order to keep everybody in different areas, so. The first piece that Serenading Strings is going to play is called Inception. This was a film score from the movie by Hans Zimmer. A lot of people would recognize him. He's a very famous classical composer. Maybe not John Williams famous, but coming up in the world. You'll hear a lot of dynamic extremes in this piece. You'll hear a lot of driving eighth notes. We talk a lot about pulse and how the rhythm of our pulse moves the music along. And then there are moments in the music where you'll hear there's an absence of that pulse. This movie is it's about reality and what is reality. And so there's moments where you'll hear a very strong pulse that's moving us towards the action in the film. And then there's also that kind of balance where we're not entirely sure where the beat is. So we hope you'll enjoy listening for those musical elements when we play Inception. All right, really quickly, we've got a few recognition moments of people I wanted to talk about great things they've accomplished this year. There we go. So Solo Ensemble Festival this year was a virtual solo and ensemble festival where our students came up to the school and a judge was actually on the smart board giving them feedback. And I'm proud to say all of our students here at CMA got 1 ratings, which is the highest score you can get. So I'll go ahead and recognize them. We got 6th graders Knock, Abigail, Ava, Riley, Leon, Sydney, Joe, Ashton. Then we've got 7th graders Evan, Ava, Harmony, Non, and then our serenading strings also went ahead and played. So all of them performed here at school on Saturday, very early last month. Is that only a month ago? Feels like a lifetime ago, but it was April 17th. So go ahead and applaud their hard work and their effort. The next 3 are students who were actually nominated, and they filled out applications to be considered to join the virtual all-state orchestra roster. Typically, our 7th and 8th grade orchestra students are eligible to apply for all-state. Each school in Kansas gets to nominate their students who are between 6th grade and 9th grade. They have to be in their first 3 years of playing in order to be eligible, and they form what's called a mountaintop experience. So they work to try and get kids from each school to come together, and then they spend all morning in a cafeteria together and learn a piece by 1 o'clock and perform it that afternoon. It's an exciting Saturday. This year, we weren't able to actually physically host it, but they decided to make it a paper audition where kids still filled out their paper audition, but teachers had to write about how these students had been performing in class, virtually when there are virtual challenges. And we had 3 students who were selected from CMA: Linda Wynn, Henry Wynn, and Talia Perganan. So we hope that they will next year be eligible and consider applying for that again and hopefully be selected in next year's honor orchestra. Okay, some fun awards, and I promise this won't take long, but one of the things we started doing a few years ago was doing some fun orchestra awards where our kids could nominate each other for different things. I have nothing to do with this. This is entirely class voted. All I do is print the names that the class voted on a certificate. So we've got 4 fun little awards. Would you go ahead and hand those out? We're going to start with our most valuable player awards. And so they should say their name on them. Our first one goes to violinist Linda Wynn. She was nominated as our most vital 8th grade orchestra player. Our second MVP was Daniel Lee, also violin player. And I guess I should have said before, this was actually a tie. There was also another violinist who won most valuable violinist. So Jordan Hong. Our next one is our violist, and so I'm happy to say it goes to Ginny Dang. Our 8th grade cellist that was voted was Stacy Dang. And our 8th grade bass player was Ann Hong. When we talk about a lot of these things, we talk about leadership and not just their role with our 8th grade orchestra, but we also talk about the role of reaching out to 7th graders. And so a couple years ago, we started the 7th graders favorite 8th grader award. And this is actually the 7th grade votes on these. I'm proud to say we had almost 9 people recognized this year as being 8th graders that the 7th graders felt they connected with, which is very impressive considering the 7th and 8th graders are in different cohorts and not even allowed to mingle with each other. But it was really sweet reading the comments they share. They talk about how in 6th grade, students would reach out to them and ask if they needed help. One person mentioned that they didn't know how to rosin their bow, and this 8th grader came and rosined their bow for them in 6th grade, and it left an impression on them. We talk a lot about being a family, and I think that these 7th graders' quotes will help sell that. This student, again, all of these are 7th grade quotes, always brings positive energy, is happy, and can make everybody laugh. This student is helpful, smart, enthusiastic, and basically perfect. This is a great student and a great bass player. She is a kind and helpful person. When I was just learning how to play bass, she helped me through all the difficult songs and notes. She's kind to everyone and always in a good mood. She's a wonderful bass player. Overall, she's just a wonderful person to be around and a great person to play music with. Our 7th grader's favorite 8th grader award goes to Ann Hong. Turn my microphone off. The next 4 are kind of fun awards that we voted on between our virtual and our in-person kids. We have the Molto Espressivo Award, which is fancy Italian for the student who moves the most musically when they play. This will come as no surprise, Jordan Hahn. Next award goes to our loudest 8th grader, and that is both in terms of their personality and their dynamic range on their instrument. Our Sforzando Award goes to Daniel Lee. In a brand new award this year, the Virtual Orchestra Award. This award is presented to someone who is faithful in turning their camera on almost every day and participating with virtual learning. Jessa Martin. And our Nicest Person Award, this goes to the person who demonstrates kindness all the time, and it goes to EJ Tran. And when I tell you these were not easy to calculate, I had to put them into Excel and keep track of this kid voted for this person, voted for this person. We had so many students who were nominated for these things, but as a teacher, it makes me really proud to have such wonderful students who think about the kind of things that other students do. So round of applause for all of our 7th and 8th grade students. And really quickly, I wanted to recognize 3 teachers who are here. And Christina is going to help me. So Miss Amir Foote, Miss Cox, and Mr. Gray. Would you kind of come somewhere over here in this general area? Or that general area? Christina can run. Okay, our first one is Mr. Gray, who's actually back there if you want to go take the plant back to him. Mr. Gray has been amazing these past 9 years that I've been here at CMA. He has done lights for me. He has helped me when nothing is going right, according to the plan that we had for the concert. I think that first year we did A Night Amongst the Stars. There was a lot of fun learning we did together with our first event here at CMA. He was here for the infamous 4-hour band and orchestra concert. All kinds of fun things, and so we really appreciate him. He's retiring this year, and we will miss him so much, but he's still coming to Branson with us if we can ever take another Branson trip. So, round of applause for Mr. Gray. The next teacher that we're going to recognize is Miss Cox. She's been our student teacher this year. What a terrible year to be student teaching. I can't tell you how many times I've told her, I don't know what we're doing on Microsoft Teams, but she was great. She helped me figure it out. She brought a cheerful attitude. I know that our 7th graders a couple of times had come up and they were very thankful. They were like, her computer was working when yours wasn't. It's very nice to have that to be able to rely on. So thank you, Ms. Cox. Wherever your musical journey takes you after this, we hope you find success with teaching. And our last award goes to, our last plant. I bought plants because I didn't know what else to buy. Goes to Miss Amir Foote. When the district told me that we were going to get her as our co-teacher, I I about lost it. It was amazing. I was so excited. We did some training together a few years ago, and her base school is Wilbur. So if you think about West Wichita, she doesn't have time to drive here every day. But with virtual learning, she was able to get here and be visibly present in our classes and run cello sectionals virtually, which is something I never thought was possible. But she helped me figure it out. She wore a Santa suit, some of you will remember, to our holiday sing-along, play-along concert. Oh, sorry, it was Santa. But she's brought such joy and happiness to the very worst Microsoft Teams moments. And I've just appreciated having her with us so much this year, and I think our kids agree too. She's pretty great. So thank you, Miss Muirfoot. And the next teacher we need to recognize is Miss Patton. Miss Patton has a birthday today, and this year we've been known as the Traveling Orchestra. So time for experiment number 3. Here is Happy Birthday, which we've never played together. Enjoy.
I've been waiting since February 11th.
And some last thank yous really quick, and then I promise we'll keep going with the music. Our CMA custodial staff has been amazing. When we had an orchestra outdoor concert, they were ready to help me. When we moved to indoors, they were ready to help me. When we were gonna move it outdoors, they were gonna help me. And then when we moved it indoors, they ran around finding batteries for me to use for stand lights and helping me find trash cans and all kinds of fun things. So thank you to our custodial staff. Thank you to the world's greatest administration. When I had this crazy idea, Mr. Myrick was like, sure, as long as it's safe. So I can't tell you how great it is to have such a supportive administration in our assistant principals and our principals. So round of applause for them. Thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Cox for helping keep our live stream hopefully running and doing backup everything virtual that I don't understand. Thank you, Mr. Stafford, for doing lights and sound. Thank you, Ms. Calderwood, for helping spray things down and keep people backstage from getting out of hand. And those, I think, are everybody. Apologies if I forgot to thank you. I appreciate everything that you do to help us and our parents. Thank you for being here, keeping your kids playing during a pandemic, and being willing to support them when we come back to music, because next year there's going to be a lot more music and you guys are going to be ready because of this. All right, here's Poker Face from our serenading strings, and then you can clap after that. All right, this next piece is one that Western Dawn, it tells a story. A lot of our 7th and 8th graders talked about storytelling elements during our musical analysis this year. And so they came up with all kinds of cool things about the setting and the characters in this piece. I think that what really makes it special is its use of tone color. And if you close your eyes and imagine a sunset, which hopefully if we'd been outside, you would have been able to see the sunset. But if you close your eyes and imagine one, you can almost hear that in the music. And we talk about that being the use of tone color. The tone colors create this image. So we hope you'll enjoy hearing the image of the western sun. And then it's opening on the scene of a small town. And so we can hear the busyness of what's happening, the bustle of the city. And then there are moments that reflect back on this prairie-scape where you've got the sunset or sunrise, I guess, sunset. Yes. They'll tell me, but there's a reason I teach orchestra. So as we hear this beautiful tone color, you'll also hear that juxtaposition with the 8th notes and 16th notes. All right, here's Western Dawn. So again, Apollo 13 was a movie I grew up, I loved that movie in middle school and high school. Most of these guys didn't know it, so it was fun to get to introduce them to this musical theme by James Horner, beautiful film composer. We originally planned for this to have a rocket launch, and we had a very heroic teacher who was volunteering to fend off any wayward rockets from our orchestra. But with the rain and the weather and everything, we did have to postpone that tonight. But you're welcome to still see that same rocket launch outside after our concert. So just imagine this while you're watching that. All right, we've got two guest percussionists on our next piece. This is El Gato Pizzicato, a musical pun for you while people are coming up into their spots. This song is based on a scale, and the seventh note of our scale is called T, T-I. And so this song you'll hear, can you play your C? So this is the letter C, play your A, which is the letter A, and then our note T, which is the seventh note in the scale, so it spells C-A-T. That's the musical joke for those of you who enjoy the musical pun. This is El Gato Pizzicato. Some of you might recognize the middle theme from Peter and the Wolf. It's a very famous piece that you'll recognize. Here we go. And I guess I should have also recognized our two soloists over here in the violin section. Jordan Hahn with the best cat meow. It won virtual acclaim during class. He meowed and everyone online went, wow, that's really great. And they don't respond for anything in virtual chat. But they got very excited about his meow. And then our also duet with Daniel. All right, our next piece of music, Ms. Cox is gonna come up and conduct. Here's Appalachian Hymn. our last piece is a piece that you would have gotten to hear last year. This is a piece we played for our elementary recruiting concert, and we were going to be playing it for our end of year concert and for festival. And then that pandemic thing happened. So here we are, nearly a year and a half later, finally playing this piece. The challenge with this is that this is a very difficult piece of music. Playing things that are slow is much more challenging on a string instrument than fast. We can just use a very small bow and it's really easy to play fast, but learning to sustain all the way through a note and not let it rush and keeping a good tone with good gravity the whole time, especially on up bows, which fight gravity, it's really tricky to do. You'll hear this at a lot of high school festival pieces, high school festivals. It's a beautiful piece. It's from Holst's The Planets, for those of you who are familiar with it. This is based on Jupiter, which is the bringer of jollity. We hope you'll enjoy this beautiful piece of music. I know that our 8th grade cellos have been longing to play this, so enjoy the beautiful cello line in the middle. doesn't deserve cupcakes, I don't know what does. So thank you all again for coming to our concert tonight. The cupcake truck is going to be right out here on the corner. The rockets are going to be going off in the field right across the school. There's kind of an old silo. It's right there. We're going to do a staggered exit. So serenading strings, I need you to sneak out, go back to door 31. I think Miss Jimson is here somewhere, and she's going to help grab some of those stand lights that are hopefully charged and ready to go. And if you can go help with that, they're going out door 31. Sixth graders.